Okay, let's get it done. This is Serpentis capital staging. I am in a Phoenix. Gonna show you the fit in a second. Here's the fit. The time window is 29 minutes before B out on the ESS. That means people who are interested doesn't know I'm here, and people who does know I'm here are not interested. So the time window is so small, people cannot react fast enough to go for my dreadnought or for me to kill me or work my ESS. I'm using T1 armor here, Scorch XL. The dreadnoughts are. One of them is moving. I hope he will be staying in my range. It happens from time that one of the dreadnoughts is moving because it's bumped off. But it looks good. It looks good. If they're still in range, that will be not an issue. So let me realign back to the structure, slowing down, working those 3 dreadnoughts, and I will be talking a little bit more about the escalation itself. I'm still too fast. So, you will see as soon as you warp in, you land, you'll be pointing by 3 dreadnoughts. The dreadnought points go about 60 plus kilometers, maybe 75. I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah. If they do about, let's say, combined 8,000 DPS, maybe, the site right now, maybe less. I haven't measured for sure, but I would say 8,000 DPS, about the number. So, what you will need to do, I'm landing, I'm start shooting, I will hitting my guns to the first dread, then shooting the second dread, reloading for the third dread, and overheating my guns on the third dread. So, overheating, not overheating, overheating. So, starts pumping my auxiliary cap booster charges to stay ahead of the full shields, more or less. The dreadnoughts have a 60 million ISK each, therefore there will be about 75 million ESS before 75 million ISK before ESS, before bounty risk modifier going to ESS. So if the bounty risk modifier is 50%, you're getting 50% more. So 70, like 100. Okay, I need to reload. Give me a sec. Here we go. So 75 million ISK with bounty risk modifier 100 is it's like a breaking point for people deciding to drop or not, because if they're only gonna steal 66% of that ESS in bonds, if the bounty risk modifier is really high, the risks of ESS being stolen is much higher. Therefore, yep, I would say the time period of that one is pretty small, so you can hold it as close as possible, which means you invest a lot of time either to wait for the bounties for the ESS being auto-paid with a short amount of time, because we know, or you're risking of losing your ISK if you're not defending it. The Dreadnought itself also have loot, and by loot I mean by dropping meta components for meta equipment, meta fittings, such as Capital, FS, Great Shit Extenders. You need meta components, and that one compact meta components are dropping on the Dreadnoughts if you loot them. Also, you can salvage the Dreadnoughts, and they do drop T1 salvage if you salvage them. Okay, overheating guns and shooting that one. I don't need to overheat the guns, but I would clear the site much faster, so the Deckle frigate is gonna spawn faster and gonna repush me faster, so I can spam my way out and not sit here when my siege cycle ends. Resistance-wise, the Dreadnoughts have kinetic resistance hull, so if you're using armor Dreadnought, you will be shooting with thermal damage, which is pretty much as bad as shooting with explosive damage with Nagelfar. If not, so a Nagelfar will be a little bit tough on that one, and also the Dread, the Revelation will be a little bit tough on that one, but the Kaldari one Dreadnought and the Galantal one Dreadnought, the Moros and the Phoenix will be pretty fine because ammo there is selective, or at least they have decent damage profile for that one. Yeah, here we go. So now I have killed those, I can refit for tank. Drop the mobile, drop the policy control systems for capacitor, for the how it's called. For power diagnosis systems, I use the Kadari ones. They give me a little bit more on shields, and cycle your marble. Pretty much that's it. Afterwards, you need to warp on grid when the site despawns and start salvaging and looting those 3 dreadnoughts. The ISK there on those can vary between, let's say, 20 mil or 15 mil to about 60 mil. Therefore, the bounty with modify, this site as together gives anything between 150 and 250 mil after acquisition price and fuel cost, armor cost, jump, and strontium, whatever you need to run the sites. Yeah, well, let's wait till we can disengage, and we are already realigning back. So, always use the plasma swarm bomb. Do not use the kinetic one. Kinetic one have on the factory kinetic one have only 7,500 meters range, which is not sufficient to kill those pesky 8 to 9,000, pretty much close to 9,000 meters frigates who are orbiting you. So if you don't use the right smart, you will tackle on grid, and that may be a bad time for you because you're not applying with the Phoenix anything greater than a tower itself. Yeah, well, that's pretty much all for it. The site is done. Also, the only thing left is loot and salvage. Yeah, stay awesome. See you next time.